If you like this video, make sure to visit our Vimeo page and follow us to get the latest update.
Hello everybody, thank you for joining the 4-day SAP Data Intelligence Training. My name is Ganesh and I will be taking this training along with my co-trainer Venkat. So let's start with a round of introductions. So I have close to like 13 years of experience. I have been working in SAP and non-SAP technologies mostly. And for the past few years, I'm working in the cloud data integration area. And I'm also a certified cloud architect, and which is where data intelligence also intersects in a big way, because it doesn't just touch SAP but also touches with the non-SAP world, right? And which is why I've been working in this area for more than a year now, and have already participated and implemented projects in the past. And yeah, I'm happy to share some of my knowledge with you and take this training forward. Okay, Venkat, you can begin please with an introduction.
I have close to about 12 years of experience and predominantly with SAP. And I have worked in multiple SAP solutions like SAP Business Objects, SAP Lumira, SAP HANA, SAP C4HANA, SAP Data Intelligence, SAP ERP, etc. So the list keeps going on and on. And I'm also a cloud certified architect. I'm certified in AWS and Azure as well. So first of all, I would like to welcome you all for this training. So before going into the overview, I will just tell you how we are placed with the curriculum and what we will be covering each day. So today we would be taking some time out to give you an introduction, and then we'll be covering Docker's hands-on, and then we'll be covering Kubernetes hands-on. And if time permits, we will see an overview of the connection management. So tomorrow we will completely work on ABAP integration, SAP Cloud Connector, and then metadata management. And from third day, we will work on pipeline modeler and the 20 plus operators that we are going to cover. And fourth day, we will see some administration activities, model lifecycle management, and other stuff. So if time permits, we will also go through other topics like sizing and from a licensing perspective, how it is done. So this is on an overview. This is on an over level what we are going to cover in 4 days. Right. So just to, people have been asking me, so whenever we start the training, right, be it corporate or, individual training overviews, okay, we have some slides here. Now, what is the impact of this? Like, say, for example, I start with this, right? So, yeah, I start with this slide. So what is it? So why we are having this statistics? So why it is so important? Now, after the statistics, we are also cover the Docker's hands-on for 1.5 to 2 hours. So why I need to learn Docker? Why I need to learn Kubernetes? So people see, I am an SAP. I am a long-time SAP. Okay, so it took me some time, to be very frank. It took me some time to adapt to this new technology, because DI is based on an open source technology. So we have Kubernetes concept, we have Docker concepts, but we need to learn these stuffs in at least not in depth, but at least to debug a little bit. Now tomorrow, in case if you are going to work on something, you need to know how data intelligence is placed. We will go in depth about the architecture also. I will show you how it is placed. But yes, you need to know what is a Docker container, how to create a container, how to build an image, what is a Kubernetes, what is a pod. So these are all some of the basic stuffs, and with hands-on, if I tell you, you will never forget it in your life. So this is that is the main agenda here, and this is very, very important. See, some of the trainers, they might not concentrate on this, but I personally feel there is a level of concentration that is required. Now, one more advantage I will tell you. So on the day 3rd, Ganesh will be showing you some pipeline operators. Now, we have a very big reason behind this Docker images, because you can build your own images out of the custom operators that we are going to build, and Ganesh will be taking you through that. Now, without knowing this, if you directly go and pull some images or push some images from the pipeline modeler, how it will not work, correct? Now, most of the people don't know this, but so we will just establish a strong base, and then we will give you all the basic knowledge about this new technology, about this new solution. Now, from a mindset perspective, right? So you people are from SAP. From a mindset perspective, 50% you keep the SAP knowledge, 50% you just leave it blank and try to grasp whatever we are telling now. Because tomorrow we have ABAP integration, SAP Cloud Connector. ABAP integration is going to take 1.5 hours, because it is not so easy, and you will learn the complexity why it is not so easy. right? So with saying that, we will start with the overview. What is the purpose that SAP has come up with this SAP Data Intelligence solution? What was the requirement? Why all of a sudden SAP has to come up with this solution? See, because 86% of the enterprises claim they're not getting most of the data. Okay, these are all some of the statistics. 72% of the survey participants, they are yet to forge a data culture, right? So since you guys have been working with BobJ, data services, data warehousing scenario, but you actually have a business demand. Do you know what the customer actually wants to do with it? Okay, we have the normal data warehousing scenario. We pull in the data. Okay, we build the reports. But what is it the customer is actually looking out for? Okay, as a CIO, if I am the CEO of a company, I need to look at the financial reports. Fine, the financial reports are fine. But the current trend, right? The current trend demands even more than that. Okay, my report shows this. What I have to do afterwards? So that is what is really missing. That is why most of the organizations are failing, even though they have everything, right? Now, organizations who says that we have everything in place, they don't have everything in order, right? So we call it as a data silos. So being in the data warehousing team, you should be knowing this, right? Now, what is the solution that SAP has come up with? So the solution is SAP Data Intelligence. Now, when I say 8.5 out of 10 early data science initiatives fail to get to production, 86% of the enterprise, they are not getting most out of the data. Why? So there are few reasons, why these are failing, why these statistics are given by the report. So we took it from Forrester report, we take it from Gartner report. Why? So the main reason here is, number one is insufficient, incorrect, or conflicting data. Okay, so that is one of the main reasons, which we will put it simply as data problems. Just so now I have shown you a few statistics, correct? Now, what is the major reason? So we have, if you do a Google or if you do anything, you will have n number of reasons, 20 reasons, 25 reasons, but everything, if you see, it'll link to only one problem. So that is your data problem. Okay, so now what is the second one? Second one is nothing related to technology, is nothing related to any solution. It is failure to understand business problem. Okay, so what is the business problem that I am trying to solve here? So that is the main goal, which is missing between many organizations. Okay, so when I say data problems, it can come to poor data quality, the accuracy, the data silos. Now, many of the data scientists, they feel that not a quality of data that has been provided to them. So that's why the data science projects also is failing. Now, even in a common scenario, as a CIO, if I have the report of financial data and the data is not cleansed properly, data is not available properly, obviously I would have an incorrect projection of what is going to happen and what has happened already, correct? So data quality, data accuracy, these are all some of the important problems that organizations are failing to solve. Now, you can argue, we can debate, saying that, yeah, organizations have their own solutions to cleanse the data. Say, for example, we have data services, we have Informatica, we have a lot of other solutions in the market. You do this, we have the ETL process. But yes, but what it leads to is, it leads to data silos, right? If a customer is having n number of data sources, but what is the data that they have to retrieve from all these data sources? So this, just how can we eliminate all these data silos? So is what we are going to see in depth, how data intelligence will help in addressing all these data silos, how we can build a proper governance model, so which will be helpful for all the people, say like data engineers, data analysts, data scientists, whomsoever you call it. So data steward. Okay, so it will definitely act as a single platform to eliminate the data silos, to provide a appropriate data quality solution, and one platform for all the data people. So a lot of advantages are there, right? So this is one of the main reasons that we need to understand why the failure is happening. People will tell failure has happened, but why? It is because of the data problem and the failure to understand the real business problem. The first and foremost, very important question: what is the business problem that I'm trying to solve here? So this people have to come together, they have to discuss, and then they have to come up with a problem solution. And this is the one that we will be able to use it. Okay, so I'm just going back to my slide. Yeah. So as I told you, enterprises are struggling with complexity, Year on year, 68% of the organizations, they are reporting a growth of 10% of data, and 71% they are using more than 6 data sources, right? Gone are all the old days where we use the traditional databases, one-to-one mapping. No, 71% of the organizations, they're telling that, "Oh, I am using more than 6 data sources. This is what my current scenario is." So imagine the amount of data silos that are already prevailing, right? So how are we going to solve all these problems? Now, these problems, what does it lead to? It leads to business disruption and productivity loss, right? So obviously, you will have a business loss. You will have your production will not go as expected. Okay, so these are all some of the statistics. Say, for example, business disruption, it had costed around $5 million, and productivity loss of $3 million. So these are all some of the projected statistics that we have taken from Gartner or Forrester report, right? So how much money you could save if everything is in place is what the ultimate goal is, right? See, for everyone, what is matters, say, for CEOs, for CIOs, what is the ultimate thing that they are worried about? It's about the money, right? If proper data governance is not in place, how much money is I'm going to lose? So that is what we will be covering in the next slide. So enterprises are struggling with compliance, and you can see the comparison between 2011 and 2017. So there has been a loss of $1.07 million in 2011, and it has always been increasing. You are able to see any chart which is decreased? No, right? So it has always been on the increasing trend for any organization, because year on year, what we saw is there is a data growth. Okay, there are a number of data sources keep on increasing for an organization. So when you say number of data sources is increasing, so the complexity is also increasing. When the complexity is increasing, obviously data governance, model, compliance management will also increase, and there should be a mechanism in place to address it as well. And if that is not there, this is what is likely going to happen. So you will end up in losing a lot of money, right? So now, we have talked so much about data. Now we have talked so much about data. Let's just take a step forward. Okay, now, as I told you, I'll just give this example. As a CIO, I'm seeing the financial report. Now, what is the next step I have to take? If I give the CIO a prediction analysis, my forecast analysis, okay, so this is what my sales is going to be for the next 5 years. Now, this is what my revenue is going to be for the next 3 years. This is the profits. Some kind of good predictive statistics. So that will help the CIO to take a decision appropriately, whether to close down the business which is not doing well, whether to expand the business which is going well. So some kind of business decisions CIOs will be able to take it. Now, just some statistics of how machine learning and artificial intelligence have helped big companies like Netflix. So how much has Netflix saved this year? So it's $1 billion. So have you ever come across people who have been using Amazon Prime Video, Netflix? So there will be movie recommendations, right? So these are all nothing but behind the scenes machine learning algorithms are working on its own. So based on the type of movie that you choose, the algorithms will run. And obviously, when you open the Prime Video or Netflix next time, you will be given a choice of movies that you like. So which, as a personal, I have literally taken advantage of the recommendations that these guys have given me, because say, for example, I really love horror movies. When I start seeing some 2 or 3 horror movies, automatically in the recommendations only horror movies will come. So as days go on, when I see adventure films, when I see action films, so instead of 10 horror films, it will come down to 8 horror films and then 2 adventure films. So this is how the ML algorithms will definitely work. Now, what happens is, this is not only about the ML. Okay, behind the scenes, ML algorithms is also working, but it is about embedding the statistics internally, right? So there is a heavy usage of analytics internally. What it does is, it gives you the recommendation. Based on the recommendation as a user, if I go for a movie, then internally what will happen is, say Netflix or Amazon, they will have a report. Okay, so this many users have subscribed to these many movies based on the recommendation that has been provided. So when I give it as a report, say for example, when I use business objects, when I use SAP Analytics Cloud to connect to the database and then retrieve these reports, for sure I know that my ML models are working fine. My ML models are accurate. Based on my ML model, these many users have subscribed. The subscribers have jumped from 10% to 20%, right? So this is what it will lead to, right? So it's not only about ML model being running in the background, helping you to choose the required movies, but ultimately, internally for the companies, you will be able to build some good dashboards, which will tell the statistics to the CEO or CIOs in terms of revenue, profits, subscribers, etc. So everything is interlinked, guys. So you just have to understand one thing: everything is interlinked. Okay. So I will explain you more in depth when I say interlinked. When you talk to outside people, okay, I can guarantee you that when you talk to outside people and go and tell them about SAP data intelligence, the very first thing that will come to their mind is, yeah, it is a machine learning and artificial intelligence tool, right? That's what they will think, because that is how it has been projected. But unfortunately, that is not the case. It is just one pillar. Okay, so it is just one pillar. DI is all about managing the data flow and its landscape rather than having anything in isolation. So data orchestration, data governance, machine learning, artificial intelligence. How do you link? How do you link? So this is very, very, very important. Now, tomorrow my requirement may be only data orchestration. Say one customer example, me and Ganesh, we were working for a customer, which Ganesh will tell it to you during the real-time customer use cases. But just to bring up the concept here, so that was only pure data orchestration scenario. No ML and no AI involved in the initial phase, right? So it was pure data orchestration. Now, when they were happy with the data orchestration, we had a meeting with the top level business management colleagues. They said, yeah, we are happy with the data orchestration. So what should we do next? Correct. We have the data in place. We have the quality. We have everything set. What is the next thing? Yes, next thing is building the appropriate ML models out of the data that we had already consumed in DI, right? So this is what you have to understand it, guys. So DI is not only about ML and AI, it is about managing the end-to-end data flow and its landscape rather than anything in isolation. Okay, so as you can see from the slide, a lot of companies have saved a lot of money based on implementing the proper and the right ML and AI algorithm. Okay, so this slide, the concept that is being presented here, you guys must be very well aware of it because you guys are working on SAP data services. But what is really happening here? Okay, so we have disparate landscapes, various data types, and manual siloed operations, right? So you have ETL operations that has to be performed on various sources, right? On various sources, and then you have to put it in a data warehouse, and then you have to connect the appropriate reporting solutions to build the report. So this is a normal. This is a normal or the traditional approach. Even today, most of the companies are following. Okay. But now, time for us to come to step up and say, hey, this is the normal flow. What is the new flow? Or what are all the requirements, right? So if the customers ask, who has changed what data? What has been changed? Who is accessing it? So from a data governance perspective, what should be your answer? How do you compare your traditional data warehousing technology with the modern SAP data intelligence world? Data sharing, how collaboration is happening internally in case if you're using data services or information steward, so or even for that factor, SAP agile data preparation. So how is the collaboration is happening internally? If you have a data set, will I be able to see the data set? Will I be able to put some comments? Will I be able to rate it? How the collaboration is happening? And how easy or difficult it is to create a pipeline, right? So in data services, you will be creating the data flow and you'll be having a lot of data flows, connected to a lot of source data sources and then target data sources, doing some transformations. How easy it is to create a pipeline, how easy is to manage a pipeline, how easy is to monitor the pipeline, how easy it is to schedule the pipeline. So these are all some of the questions, that we need an answer for. And yes, we have the answer in terms of a solution called as SAP Data Intelligence, right? So now we have something called as intelligent applications. Okay, so we call S4 HANA as intelligent enterprise technology. So how the applications are going to behave intelligently rather than it's a normal application, right? So the application should be able to provide me some insights, okay, with all the sophisticated features that are already available. So it should be able to provide me some good insights. Now, what are all the roadblocks for you to develop intelligent applications, right? So data availability. Now assume that you put yourself, okay, so forget everything. You just put yourself in the shoes of a developer. You're developing an application. Now you want that application to be a little bit intelligent, okay? So when I say intelligence, yeah, good insights, meaningful insights. So, okay, people will normally say only insights, but I would really stress on the word meaningful insights, because that insight should really give some value to me. See, when you are working on developing an application for ticketing mechanism, it doesn't look good if I provide you an insight saying Sachin Tendulkar has scored this many runs. Obviously yeah, it is an insight, but still you're creating a booking application, but the statistics or the insights is about cricket, so it doesn't relate. So it should provide you a meaningful insight. So for that, what are all the things that we need to manage? Data availability, yes. Sorry, as I had told you, data availability, we have a lot of data sources. How we are going to manage all the data from all the data sources? Now, first of all, the very first question, what did I discuss when I told you about why enterprises are failing? We have to solve a business problem, right? So we have identified the business problem. Now, the first question is, do we really need to access all these data sources? Some of the data sources might not be even in use for years, but just because for having the data sources, do we need to, access it, right? So first we need to understand that, right? So data availability. So first find where is the appropriate data that are available. Now, second one is data quality. Now, how we are going to manage the quality of this data? I told you, right, why data science projects fail. One of the main reason is it doesn't we are not providing a proper data, cleansed data to the data scientists. Okay, so data quality mechanism also plays an important role. Now we have the performance. Right now, if you have your pipeline running for hours and hours, obviously it doesn't serve the purpose. Right? I can create a pipeline, I can run it for 24 hours, and after 24 hours, I'm giving you a result and say the pipeline has failed. So it doesn't really serve the purpose. So your performance has to be improvised. Your performance has to be really fast. So why do you think people are moving to HANA? So you guys are from HANA. You've been into HANA development. Why you are doing HANA development? Right? So because of the performance, one of the main reasons is performance, because HANA is an in-memory based technology, right? So now performance is also one of the important factor to be taken care of. Now we have maintenance. We have to maintain the system properly, whatever we are going to bring in. How complex or easy to do an initial setup. What are all the data governance mechanism that we are having? So this is very, very important. Data governance mechanism, which I will show it to you in tomorrow's session. We'll have a lot of hands-on there. I will show you the end-to-end flow. So data governance is also one of the important factor. Data integration, guys, this is very, very, very important. Data integration. Okay, so data integration, what do you mean by integration? So how do we integrate with other system, be it SAP or be it non-SAP system? So what kind of integration facilities that my application is going to provide? So someone said that they are working in SAP cloud platform, right? So we use SAP cloud connector for integration. So how easy it is to set up the cloud connector, how easy it is to connect from a cloud application to an on-premise. What are all the things that we have to do? So data integration is also one of the important factors that we have to consider. Data processing. So how easy it is to how easy it is for me to use the operator. So define a custom operator and then put it in the pipeline, execute it. How easy it is. Now scalability, right? Now for scalability, we should have an auto scaling mechanism. So now in case if you're an intelligent application developer, all of a sudden your application is becoming a very big hit. Okay, it's become a very big hit. Now the next day, thousands of users are accessing your application. So your database should have the capacity to handle thousands of users query. You shouldn't throw an invalid server request. Your application should not break down. It should be intelligent enough to automatically scale based on certain parameters. Now model creation and training, yes, the system should be capable enough to enable you to upload your own models or build your own models and then have a training mechanism, and you should be able to train it as well, guys. So these are all the roadblocks that are available in building and delivering an intelligent applications. But guys, you know what, the best part is data intelligence has already taken care of all these roadblocks. It is a one-stop solution. Okay, so all the modules of DI are mapped to each and every box that is shown here. Now, so we will just go a little bit in depth to the definition of SAP data. Now, before going into the definition of SAP data intelligence, what is the definition of SAP data intelligence? Right. So if I ask you to define SAP data services, you will just define it in one. It's an ETL, data integration plus data quality, right? SAP HANA in-memory database, SAP BW data warehousing solution, SAP Analytics Cloud reporting solution. So in a similar fashion, in a similar line, what is SAP data intelligence? So SAP data intelligence is a comprehensive solution to deliver data-driven innovation and intelligence across the enterprise, right? So the main keywords: deliver data-driven innovation and intelligent applications across the enterprise. So we had seen, right, what is an intelligent enterprise? What are all the roadblocks that are there to deliver an intelligent enterprise application? And how SAP data intelligence has all those mechanisms in place to avoid all those roadblocks, correct? So it is a one-stop solution. It's a one comprehensive solution, right? So you will be able to create powerful data point. Let me just check whether pointer is there. Yeah. So you will be able to create powerful data pipelines. Okay. So powerful data pipelines, advanced machine learning capabilities, and then a comprehensive feature to access metadata across the entire organization's landscape. Guys, there is one very important difference in metadata catalog of SAP data intelligence. Not metadata catalog, but as a metadata feature, there is one important difference. I will tell you this difference tomorrow, probably in case if there are some slides which are coming, I'll just try to accommodate that. It is very important. You should know the difference. So if someone comes and asks you, what is the difference between data services and SAP data intelligence, right? From a data orchestration perspective, so this is one very important difference, which I will tell you, which I will explain it to you in detail. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. Now, what we can do with SAP data intelligence: access and connect data, govern and discover data. Yes, we can do a data preparation. Absolutely, yes. We will be able to build flexible pipelines. Yes. Then we will be able to deploy and integrate intelligent applications. Okay. And then we will be able to monitor and orchestrate the entire end-to-end life cycle of an application or a model. Okay. So this is what the definition of SAP data intelligence. So you, number one, create powerful data pipeline. Number two, advanced machine learning capabilities. Number three, comprehensive metadata management of the entire organization's landscape. Okay, so this is what the definition of SAP data intelligence is. Right. So one tool to set up, manage, and automate a continuous life cycle. Okay, so I will just like to stop here and give you one example before proceeding further. Guys, there are a lot of other solutions as well in the market. Okay, so Venkat, you are telling me about pipeline creation, you're telling me about machine learning capabilities, you're telling me about all those other stuff. Okay, but aren't these available with competitors? Right? Say, for example, we take AWS, we take Azure, we take GCP. Okay, so SAP has a very tight integration with the cloud solutions as well. Okay, but at the same time, if you have to use the solutions exclusively from the cloud, like AWS or Azure or GCP, you can use. Okay, I will not deny that there are no competitors. This is the only solution available in the market. I will definitely not do that. You can use. There are, even if you ask me, I can show it in the cloud also. See, these many solutions are available. But the problem is, so they are all individual solutions. You don't have a single solution to manage, monitor, create pipeline, build model. You don't have a single solution to do all these steps. You have a separate solution in cloud. Say, for example, in Azure, you have Azure machine learning model. For ETL process, you have Azure Data Factory. For storage, you have some other things. So these are all different solutions. So what you have to do is, you have to build each and every component separately in each of these solutions and then connect them together. First of all, you have to connect these solutions together, and then only you can think about integrating with any other SAP or non-SAP solution, right? So this is what the major drawback with our competitors, and that is why SAP Intelligence is gaining popularity. It's a one-stop shop for everything. So pipeline creation, orchestration, machine learning, monitoring, whatever it is. Yes, whatever it is done. Okay. So as you see, we have the connect phase, we will be able to connect to any kind of database that is available. And I will be in the connection management. I will be going through the list of connections that are available. So guys, on one more important factor, connection management might look little bit simple, but it is the most important pillar. Okay, connection management is the most important pillar of this entire data intelligence. It might be a small component, but this is the most important, because without connecting to any data source, you will not be able to do it. You will not be able to do anything. I mean, at least from a data orchestration point of view, you will not be able to do anything. So we will be able to connect to streaming data like Apache Kafka, and then we will be able to connect to structured data, your traditional databases like Microsoft SQL Server, you have HANA, any database, right? And then you will be able to connect to any big data sources for capturing the unstructured data. So your connect phase is already set, like how your data services almost supports all the databases that are available in the market today. So SAP Data Intelligence is also able to do that, but still the connection management is an evolving topic. They are adding more connections. Sooner and later, they will be adding the connections. But as of now, whatever database name that you take, at least the major ones will be able to easily connect, right? Now we have the orchestration portion. We have the the agile data preparation. Now it is not available, so we are trying to bring in the SAP agile data preparation features into data intelligence within the metadata capability. So we don't have an people have come to me and asked whether agile data preparation is integrated with DI. No, agile data preparation is not integrated with DI. But still, the capabilities that are being provided by agile data preparation, at least I think 50 to 60% of the capability we have within the metadata feature in the data preparation phase, which I will be showing it to you tomorrow. Okay. Now we have the other stuff like machine learning, deep learning. You will be able to deploy the model, which Ganesh will be taking you how to deploy the model, how to train the model. Some use cases he will be able to show it to you. So this gives you an entire life cycle. Okay, if you see, this is an entire life cycle. What do you mean by life cycle? So using the connect phase, I connect to any database, I get the data, and then I do an orchestration, then I prepare the data, I enrich the data, I cleanse the data, and then I build a machine learning model, and then I do a deep learning analysis on top of it, and then I run the pipeline, and then I monitor it, and then later on I can even send it to SAP Analytics Cloud for the reporting purpose. Okay, so this is an end-to-end model for the entire SAP Data Intelligence platform. Right. So, and one more trivia here. People, we have two new solutions, right? One is SAP HANA Cloud, and another one is SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. So, I don't know how many of you are aware of these two new cloud solutions, but SAP Data Intelligence is embedded into SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. Both SAP Analytics Cloud and SAP Data Intelligence is embedded into SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. Okay, so this is a trivia in case tomorrow, if you have any opportunity, or if you have any projects coming in for working in Data Warehouse Cloud also, you should not be surprised. Hey, why Data Intelligence is there? Yeah, it is embedded into Data Warehouse Cloud, right? So that you can also consume the data that has already been put up in the Data Warehouse Cloud using the DI, which is already available within the Data Warehouse Cloud. Okay, so we have how do we bring the enterprise applications and intelligent technologies together, guys? All these while you have been working with big data. I mean, I'm not sure whether you have worked with big data, but based on the experiences, you would have a lot of experiences working with traditional database technologies, right? Have you ever thought about a situation? We call it as X data, and we call it as an O data. That is operational data plus experience data. Usually this will be used in Qualtrics for getting the experience data. But I just wanted to check with you, have you ever used in your environment for both combining your operational data and experience data together and then bringing an output? Okay. One example is, say for example, you have an operational data, number of products. Like I have, say for example, laptop 25 products, I have mouse 50 products, and then you are having your own e-commerce application. Okay, you have your own e-commerce application. Now, what I do is, in your e-commerce application, right? Behind the scenes, obviously SAP ERP is there. I'm ordering a product. I have put it in the cart. Okay, I have put it in the cart, but all of a sudden, I'm just exiting the cart. I'm not placing an order. I've just put it in the cart and then I'm closing it. Now, you want to understand why people are placing this particular product in the cart but are not ordering it. So if you have to take a statistics, okay, what would be the statistics is, what is my item name? Say, for example, it is a Lenovo laptop. That is my item name. And the specifications and all those stuffs will be there, because Lenovo will have a lot of specifications, right? So Lenovo laptop, my specifications. Now, if you have a report telling you, giving you an insight on both your operational and experience data. So this is how it would look like. You have Lenovo laptop, the specifications, and number of users who have added this product to the cart, and the number of users who have ordered it, number of users who have logged out, and the most important factor, why they have logged out. Okay, so with Qualtrics, what you can do is you will be able to give a survey. If you're closing the cart, it will give you a survey why you're closing the cart, because the price was high, or probably specification did not match your requirement, etc. If you open your report as a business head, if I open my report, I say, okay, for this particular Lenovo product, people have 1,000 users have added this to the cart, but only 50 people have ordered. Why the rest of the users have not added? If I see why, the reason, my graph will show because of price, or because of transport, or I mean the delivery cost, or because of some other reason. So I will be able to take an immediate action. When I say immediate action, say for example, if I have a graph which is which is telling me that 900 of the users have opted out because of delivery cost, what I will do is, for these 900 users, I will give them a special discount. I will not give them any transportation or delivery charges. So next time when they see delivery charges as 0, the probability of buying a product is very high. So this is what today's scenario is, guys. Okay, gone. I mean, I would not say gone, but the industry is moving towards the combination of both operational data and this excellence data. So this is just an excellence data. You can also have the big data coming in place. You can have the sentiment analysis that could be performed for a product that you're manufacturing. So there are a lot of things that could be easily done here. Okay, so that is what is being given here. So your enterprise applications, you're managing your intelligent technologies, and then your data management, right? So let me just move on to the next piece. Okay, so this is an high level architecture of your SAP Data Intelligence Solutions. Okay, just give me a second. I'm having some trouble with my mouse. Yeah. Okay, so what is it that you can infer from this diagram? Okay, what is that I'm able to get this from this diagram? You have three main factors, like I had explained to you multiple times. Data governance, right? Data governance, data orchestration and monitoring, data pipelining and processing, and we have pointers. So we have data governance, we have data orchestration and monitoring, we have data pipelining and processing. Okay, so this is the end-to-end data integration and processing. I will tell you about SAP strategy, guys. Okay, so from here, the whole SAP strategy about SAP data intelligence is clearly flowed out. Okay, so you have ABAP integration to connect to SAP applications. You have BW integration to connect to BW systems, cloud integration to connect to various SAP cloud systems. We have workflows to execute the workflows remotely, and then we have APIs to push it to SAP Analytics Cloud. Okay, and on the right hand side, if you see, we have the distributed and external data systems which we can connect to and pull the data. Right, we have cloud storages, we have normal databases, we have public clouds like AWS, Azure, etc. And we also have the SAP Cloud Platform connectors, which we could use for integration. Now, what is SAP strategy is one solution to connect to anything, one solution to connect to anything, right? And then do whatever is possible. Data orchestration, data pipelining, model governance, model training, push it to any of the third-party sources using APIs. Everything should be possible. Now, what is the strategy that I could find here is one solution, okay, one solution to do all the capabilities that an organization requires, one solution to provide a tight integration with the SAP application. But I'm saying tight integration with all the SAP applications. Okay, so that is what this side projects, and we have the connectivity management to connect to most of the external systems that are already available, right? So this is a very high level architecture and the strategy of SAP, where it is placing SAP Data Intelligence and what it wants to do with SAP Data Intelligence. I do not want the customers to face problems when they are connecting into SAP applications. Yes, we have all the required integration mechanisms to connect to any SAP applications here. Okay. For non-SAP, what is the strategy? Yes, we have all the out-of-the-box connectors to connect to any external systems that are already available. Done. Okay, only connection is not my only criteria. I want to build a model. I want to do a cleansing. I want to build a proper governance mechanism in place. So what is it? Yes, data intelligence provides you the capability to ingest the data from the sources that have been mentioned, and then enables you to prepare a proper governance model, enables you to prepare a proper machine learning model, and then enables you to push it to the required third-party sources or internal SAP systems like SAP Analytics Cloud, where it can be projected as a report to the business management people. Okay, so this is the overall end-to-end data integration and processing mechanism, and this is what the strategy of SAP is: one solution, connect anywhere, do whatever you want. Right? As simple as such. Right? So now, building agile data-driven process. Now, we have the approach by hand mechanism, and then we have the data pipelining mechanism. So for people who is not aware of what is a pipeline, probably, just to give an analogy, it is very similar to the data flow what you use in data services, right? You will have a lot of transformations, you will have the source, you will have the target, you will be connecting it, and then so one entire flow you will be creating, right? So that is what the data pipeline is with data intelligence. Now, what is it that we are doing is, we're just trying some custom operators, some workflow operators here, and then we are training some model, and then we are submitting the metrics that are going to come out of this model. Okay, now just don't worry about what the pipeline is doing. This is just for an example. Now, in case if you have to, let me give you an example. To guys, assume that if you have to write manually the scenario, what I'm going to tell you. Okay, so customers already in ECC system. Okay, and they have an Oracle system. Okay, so what the customer's requirement is, say for example, I want to predict what would be the price of a product if it has been sold in a particular region. Okay, so now you have to get the data from these two systems, because these two systems are having the required data. Right now, what I will do, I have to build, first I have to do a data cleansing, right? So I do not want to have a bad data. Now, once the data cleansing is right, I have to extract this data, and then once extraction is done, then I have to build a model. Okay, train the model, and then push it to, say for example, SAC, so that if a user is here and if they are able to view the report, they will be able to see, okay, so this is what the model is predicting for this particular Lenovo laptop. This is what the price will be if I sell it in, say for example, South Africa region. Okay, now if you have to do this by code, is what has been given in this diagram. Okay, so this is the agile data driven approach, wherein SAP Data Intelligence provides you with the equipped operators, where it is a very simple and easy to use operators. You just drag and drop onto your interface, your operator is ready. Okay, so it's as easy as it is. Probably you will be able to, we have an exhaustive list of operators, like more than 25 plus operators, which we will be showing it on third day, and you will see how easy it is, how SAP has made your life easier. Instead of writing everything manually, just simple drag and drop. Now, if I have to say, for example, we have a flow to show you how to replicate the data from ECC system to SAP HANA. Now, with the required configurations in place, with the required operators, it is very easy. Just if with everything in place, within 10 minutes your pipeline will be up and running. Within 10 minutes, I'm saying within 10 minutes, if your configurations, everything is right, within 10 minutes your pipeline is up and running, will be able to replicate the data. That is how sophisticated it is. That is how easy to use. Now, one of the most important feature of SAP Data Intelligence, where none of them will mention, is it's very easy to use, guys. It's very easy to use. It's probably, if I have to give a comparison, why Apple has become a very big hit, because it provided the required easy to use interface for the users. It's on a similar line. It provides a very easy to use interface. When I log into the data intelligence tenant, and when I go through the metadata catalog feature and all those stuff, you will understand how easy SAP has made life easier to people, right? So this is what it is. So we also have predefined machine learning services which are already available within SAP Data Intelligence, and you can take advantage of those predefined machine learning services. Say, for example, we have image classifications, image feature extraction, similarity scoring. So these are all some of the machine learning algorithms which are already provided to you by SAP. Okay, say for example, you want to identify something out of a picture. You take a car, just to give you a real-time example. Okay, so see the examples, whatever I'm going to give you, right? So it's a real-time example, and we have really faced it with a customer. So there is a customer, and there is a real-time example which we will cover in detail in the fourth day also. But to make you understand much better, there was a customer and there was an image classification algorithm which has to be implemented. So someone has to take a photo of a car. Okay, so they have to take a photo of the car, and the system has to automatically identify what type of car it is, and then it has to convey to the user, okay, now based on the photo that you had taken, now I'm going to take the photo of the first I'm going to take the photo of a full car, then I'm going to take the photo of the engine, I will take the photo of the tires. Now based on these, right, based on these photos, the system will have to automatically identify how much this car will be sold to if it's a second-hand car. Right now, I'm having a car which has been run for 10 years, 10,000 kilometers. Now, based on the photo, it has to identify this is what the price of the car will be. Okay, so these kind of algorithms are already available, which you can make use of it. You can avoid wasting time to create these algorithms from scratch. So SAP DI also provides you these kind of facilities. Okay, so now let me quickly go to the value services of SAP Data Intelligence. So I'm not going to spend much of time here because I have already explained you all these concepts. So extract value from distributed data, discover and connect. I have already talked to you about the connection mechanism. Refine and reuse. I have already told you about the predefined algorithms which are already available. Governance and compliance, yes, which we'll be seeing it tomorrow, how metadata will be able to set a proper data governance in SAP Data Intelligence, and data orchestration and execution, how we are going to build a pipeline connecting to various sources, and then say for example replication of data to a target database. We'll be covering all those steps, and on top of it we will be embracing open source technology. Okay, so we will be embracing open source technology, and we support R, Python, TensorFlow, etc. And basically data DI is based on Kubernetes and Dockers, where you have to deploy it on the certain Kubernetes versions, and then it will start working. So this is actually a different breed altogether. I would really say, when you being I myself from SAP, I found a little bit hard because this is a new breed altogether. So you probably a good understanding of the open source technology also will be very, very, very helpful for you, because if you know Python, you will be able to create your own custom operators, right? So right now, as a source database, say for example, we have database X. We support database X as a source database, but as a target database, database X is not supported. It is only supported as a source. So what should be done in such a cases where I have a requirement? I have to push data from database X to database. I have to push the data from say for example, Microsoft SQL Server to database X, which is not supported as a target, right? So in those cases, you can take advantage of Python, you can build your own custom operators, and then you can push the data to database X. That is how flexible is SAP Data Intelligence. It doesn't have any restriction. It doesn't stop you from creating anything, right? So that is why it is also telling data scientists to bring their own models. You don't have to build models from scratch. You can consume your own models. It has a good tight integration with Jupyter notebooks, right? So we have the foundation. So these are all normal slides for AI and other stuff, which I will ignore it. Okay, guys. So coming to SAP DI architecture, the high level diagram. So what is it that we have here? Okay, you see something on the left hand side, Docker registry and customer and SAP, right? So I will tell you about all those steps. And we have pipeline modeler, we have metadata explorer, we have machine learning tooling. So pipeline modeler to build the pipelines, metadata explorer for managing your metadata management activities, for machine learning to build models and train models, and system management for all the administration activities. And we have the connected system. So this is a high level architecture. Now we'll just go a little bit in depth. Okay, just a little bit in depth, but not to bombard you with the architecture details, so that you will I'll just make life easy for you. Once we start with the next session, right, Dockers and Kubernetes, you will have a very good understanding of what is a Docker container, what is a Kubernetes, and why it is in place, what is the advantage, how SAP Data Intelligence has embraced these technologies, how it is working. Okay, now, yeah. So I'll directly go to the SAP Data Intelligence component section, right? So the first one is, as I had told you before, what was the important problem that we are going to address is identifying the exact requirement or identifying the exact data. If I have multiple data sources, it doesn't mean that I have to get the data from all the data sources. Okay, so identifying the appropriate data and the data sources is our first step. Now, what is the second step is that SAP DI Metadata Explorer. This is the second important component. So, guys, I forgot to tell you one thing in the architecture, right? So, yeah, we had a discussion and then we just left it. So, just quickly take 1 or 2 minutes. Now, we have data governance, we have metadata, under data governance, we have metadata management, we have data preparation, we have access governance. In a similar fashion, for data integration architecture, we have something. For pipelines, we are having a lot of stuff. Okay, now, what do these separate boxes indicate? Okay, when we say components, okay, component will give you a different explanation. It means something. Component is different, but how I would term it is, these are all individual images on their own. These are all individual Docker images on their own. Okay, so what does that mean when I say these are all individual Docker images on their own? Now, I will probably give you an example. Okay, so in SAP Data Services, okay, so if my central management repository is down, will I be able to do anything? Will I be able to publish it? Will I be able to get the data from that? Will I be able to do some operations on it? No, right?
No.
Why? Can anyone tell me why?
It's all one, right? It's not
Sorry?
separate. It's all one, right? It's
Absolutely, absolutely. You're right, Murali. So that is what we call it as a monolithic architecture, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. It's a monolithic architecture where there is a heavy dependency. But here, if metadata management is not working, if I'm not able to use my metadata management also, it is not at all a problem for me. As long as my pipeline modeler is working, I'm happy. Metadata management is not working, it is still fine, because these are all individual images. They are not dependent on each other. So if I work, then only you have to work. No, I don't work, it is still fine. You can carry on with your work. So one example is, assume that metadata management is not at all working, but still I can use my connection management to establish a proper connection. I can upload the models, whatever I have, or build models on the existing connection and then push it to SAC or some other third-party systems, even if my metadata management is not working. Later on, you can scrutinize why metadata management is failing. You can analyze the pod. We have something called as a pod concept, which I will tell it to you. So you can analyze the pod, you can analyze the logs, and then you can see why it is failing, and then probably if you're able to rectify, you can rectify, or else you can raise an SAP incident. As of
Yeah.
now, yes.
So yeah, so just to add a few concepts here. So as you know, Venkat rightly explained, these are all deployed separately in the same Kubernetes cluster, right? They're all deployed in their own pods. Pods is a concept which we will come to now. But just in case, if your one instance of, one of these modules that you see in front of you in the slides goes wrong, what you can also do is you can go into system administration and start up a brand new instance, right? So the details of how to do it, and this we will cover the system administration section on probably day 3 or day 4, right? But the bottom line is, all of these communicate, these modules are always in connection with each other, right? So if I bring in a file in Azure Data Lake connected in DI, then I want to profile it in data preparation, then I want to probably consume it in ML. So how do they talk? If you have deployed it separately, how do they talk? So one of the things which is not mentioned here because it's a technical level detail, but how it happens here, it is based on the NATS messaging system, NATS messaging. So again, it's an open source messaging system. It's a big middleware. Again, it is written in Go. As you know, complete data intelligence has been written in Go from scratch, right? It uses NATS messaging to talk between all of the modules that you see here, from the lineage part to the modeler to the trace of a modeler to the metadata sheet that you see once you profile a metadata, right? So all those things, the messages are done through NATS system. So why we are highlighting this importance is because it is important to understand how they function in order to do the debugging properly. Because there have been, we have encountered cases when the modeler is modeler bugs or modeler errors which we see are not descriptive enough. We might want to go in one level deeper. One level deeper is a trace. You can enable deep level tracing, which we will show in the modeler. But again, if you're still not able to find the issue, the other thing would be to go at the pod level where each of these modules are deployed, and then analyze the pod logs, right? We can even analyze the pod logs. Probably, we might be able to show you those as well. So it will all happen through, CLI of Kubernetes, which also, we would be able to tell you a lot about. So it is important to understand the architecture to analyze and debug really efficiently tomorrow, which is why we are trying to, stress the concepts and the architecture part and how you can start the debugging, which we will anyways cover in depth. But I just wanted to highlight, how this relates to what we will be doing later. Over to you, Venkat.
Yeah. Thanks, Ganesh.
So is that mean that I think this brings the flexibility, right? If that some components are not really working, or if there are any such features that we want to enable to a particular component, we should be able to upgrade or probably like add on to those features alone to that particular services, right? Not really like you don't need to disturbing the whole processes, right? Like
Exactly. Yeah. There is also a way to, create custom policies.
Yeah.
For example, if you want, myself to only see the metadata, but I should not able to add anything to any of the connections, that also is possible. There, you might be, you might have a requirement that, these people, they can connect with metadata. Sure. They can pull from metadata. Sure. But they shouldn't be able to do anything else, right? That is upload manually. They can only do through operators. That also can be possible. So see, all these concepts come under, policy management. Again, under system administration, we will cover these as well in day 4.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, Murali, to give a live example, right? So what we do at home, right? So suppose, if you have to check whether your internet connection is working or not, sometimes we go to www.google.com and check, yeah, Google is working, so my internet is working, right? So in the same fashion, say for example, if your pipeline modeler is not working, okay, let me go to the connection management tile and check whether it is working or not. Yeah, obviously it will work because that is totally independent. It's an independent image, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes what will happen is, though these are independent images, some few of the features, few of the things, they would be grouped together and they will be put inside a same pod, right? So images which are very small, say for example, system management, we have the tenant management, monitoring. These are all probably some small images. They'll be clubbed together and they'll be put inside a single pod, right? So if that pod fails, then probably your monitoring and both tenant management will not work, because the entire pod has failed. But inside that pod we have 2 or 3 images which are residing, which are catering to monitoring or some other repository management or policy management. So obviously if your entire pod fails, all the images will also go. But the best part about Kubernetes is it is self-healing. In case if it is something with respect to the environment, then it will automatically spin up on the upcoming thing. Okay, so this is what it is. Okay. So which I wanted to tell you, so that tomorrow, in case if your colleagues are working on some other projects and they say formula, so this is the funda or this is the concept behind it, right? Okay, so we have the metadata explorer, we have the data discovery, we have the catalog feature, and we have the lineage tracking. Now, can someone explain me? People have worked in data services, people have worked in information steward. What is data discovery, guys? I told you there is one important differentiation in data intelligence, right, with respect to metadata. I will tell that here, but before that I wanted to understand what is data discovery from your point of view. Just open up the mic and talk about it. Anyone, what is data discovery from your point of view?
Yeah, if no one goes, I can go, but then it just like I want to give an opportunity to someone to speak up as well.
No problem.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think data discovery we can refer as finding the relevant KPI related data from customer perspective out of the pool of data, maybe.
Okay, so which pool of data you're referring to? So in case if you are using data services, you have used data services, right? If you have to do a data discovery, will you be able to use a data discovery feature within data services?
In data services, we have a bulk of data, or we can say all the transactional or the basic data which we are referring from all the data sources. So from that,
exactly.
we have to extract for extracting certain KPIs or report. We have to create workflows to make it relevant for customers.
So from data services, how do you exactly achieve this data discovery? Is it like what is the mechanism that if I have the data services, now I want to discover the data, I have 5 data sources, what you will be doing as a developer? What you will be doing?
I will be by using data service. I think we will be cleansing the data. And
no, not cleansing. What is the first point? See, I have given you the data services system. Assume that it's a brand new system. You have 5 data sources: Microsoft SQL Server, SAP HANA, Big Data, any 5 data sources. Now I am telling you, first is data discovery feature. What is it that you will do? You will extract the data. That is the first step, right?
Yes. After creating the connection with multiple data sources, I will be extracting all the data from respective sources.
Will you be able to do anything after you create the connection? You have created the connection successfully to SAP HANA. From data services, what is it that you can do after creating the connection?
I can simply play around with those respective data which I am getting from multiple sources.
So you have to extract the data first, right?
Yes.
When you say extract, what does that mean? You are extracting or you're transferring the data from the source database and then you're bringing it to the data services, right?
Correct. Yep.
Excellent. Now, this is just a data discovery phase. So what is it that you're doing here is, with respect to data services, to just analyze what kind of data is available in the system, you are connecting to multiple data sources and then you're extracting the data and then you're putting it in the data services repository. And then you're discovering what data is there, which data has to be, which data is required for me, which data is not required. Correct?
Yes.
Excellent. Now, how different is the metadata explorer of SAP Data Intelligence is The first step, it is very similar to data services. Okay, you establish a connection to the data sources. Okay, you have 5 data sources. You establish the connection. You create a connection to SAP HANA. You create a connection to Microsoft SQL Server, whatever database. You create a connection and keep it ready. Now, in the Metadata Explorer, there is an option called as Browse Connections. Okay, Browse Connections, which I will show it to you in depth in tomorrow's session. But I need you to understand. I need everyone to understand this feature very carefully. What we can do from data intelligence is, we will be able to browse the data. Okay, we will be able to browse the data that is available in the source databases without extracting the data, without actually bringing in the data to the system, right? So this is one of the most important feature which not many people will know, but this is what this is exactly one of the important feature of SAP Data Intelligence Metadata Explorer. That is, you do a data discovery without actually bringing in the data. You do it at the source system level itself. So you save the time of extracting the data and then putting it and then doing a discovery on top of it. You save the repository space, you save the database space. Say, for example, if you have to do a data discovery of 500 GB of data, first you have to extract, analyze 500 GB of data, and then cleanse the data and then put it. No, here it doesn't work like that. You do a data discovery by creating a connection to the source system, analyze the data at the source system itself, and whichever is data that is there, you just profile the data and then you just bring it back. This is the most important, or one of the best feature which I really like with respect to Metadata Explorer is the data discovery feature, right? You can explore the data assets across the connected landscape, and you can use functionalities like discovery, preview, and profiling, which I will explain it to you in detail. Okay, so this is the first feature. Now,
So another,
the second one is catalog feature. Now, what is a catalog? So,
Go ahead.
Hello.
yeah,
Hello.
Sutapa?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you.
May I ask you one question? Like in BODS, when we extract data from multiple sources, let's say we have one flat file source like .txt data and one XML data. So while we extract, we create 2 connections for the 2 type of data sources, and then we create a staging table where similar structure has been done, so that either we can join based on some common field, or we can merge taking the similar structure. So here, if we do Metadata Explorer and browse through different connection, how we make the data similar, so that in the next stage we can do any kind of connectivity between these 2 sources. So is this done in Metadata Explorer stage or in pipeline?
Yeah. So you're very right, Sutapa. So once we are profiling and browsing through the connections, right? What we can do is we can start to, in order to join, we need not do it in pipeline. There is another way. I mean, you can do it in data preparation. The actual joining will happen in data preparation, right? Which also we will cover, where you drag and drop and select the columns, you transform the columns. So data prep is meant for business users, but we can use them as well, right? So this is the step of the joining, of the exploration and joining, right? So there are actually, let me start from the beginning, right? So once you have explored your data, right? What you would want to do is that, probably, let's take an example that each system has, I don't know, like 200 GB of data, right? And you would, want to join a few tables from each of these sources, and finally create, one big CSV in a CSV file, and then you want to give it to a downward system, another SQL or a data warehouse, etc. Right? So the first step would be that we come to Metadata Explorer, we see the content, we see the structure, we see the types of the columns we are dealing with, right? We see whether which columns we want to select, right? So based upon our analysis, based upon all the discussions we have with the required stakeholders, we finalize the set of columns from here, right? And what data types they represent. The second step would be, we take this information and we go and then we build a pipeline, right? Now, how will you build a pipeline? So that depends upon what source systems you have. If it's an ABAP based system of, a suite on HANA, whether it's ECC, whether it's S4, it depends upon which of the systems you use. The operators shall differ. For example, with older versions of SAP, we have to go with SLT. If it's an S4 1909, there is some other operator. There is a table reader operator, right? So it completely depends upon which version you have. So the second step would be pipeline design. After we have designed the pipeline, we can start with a basic initial load, right? Probably, 1,000 rows, or if you have SLT, we can configure portions, right? So the second step would be the pipelines. After you have built the pipelines, you have tested the pipelines on a basic initial load or 1,000 rows load, right? Then what you have to do is you go to your Merita Explorer, take these files, and as Venkat explained previously, there is a version, a subset of agile data preparation within DI, which we call as data preparation. There you can do a decent level of transformation, the concatenation, the joining, deletion, renaming, replacing. For example, you want to replace null values from one column, you can do that with simple SQL like syntax. It's not any special language, it's a basic SQL like syntax. And then what you would do is, once you have that, then you can output that information to another file, right? So now what you have done, you have begun the exploration, designed the pipeline, and you have one sample export. And the next thing would be that you run it for the entire data. For that, you can start scheduling the pipelines, or you can also go ahead and do advanced level of joins, which you can also do in data preparation, inner join, outer join, if you want to change the data that you are getting, right? So essentially
Even
it's
that means, yeah, that means you are saying that if I have the one ABAP function as my input, so it has some nested structure, okay? So that generally we convert to flat table structure during after our extraction. So that thing also done in this preparation stage, right? In case of DI.
yeah. So the flat structure can be created by the modeler itself. It will start bringing in the data immediately, right? But the second step would be, where do you want to push it? Probably you don't want to bring it into the persistence layer. You may want to immediately push it to another system, right? So again, there are a set of operators if you want to push it outside. But if you want to bring it into DI and you use data preparation, then yeah, this is the method that you would have to go through. But
Yeah.
the important point would be that in order to understand the structure, understand the spread of data values, that also profiling would show you whether X column has more nulls, what is the most unique value. There are various parameters which the profiling would tell you. But what it will help you is that without going into the data, without firing any query, without writing any Python code, you can understand structure, number of columns, spread of the data values, and then you can immediately jump into the combination of the files, right? You can do that as well.
So Tapa, look at this.
Okay, okay, thank you. Yeah.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Murali. Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
we can hear you.
So Tapa, like think about like this. So you have receiving your file from the vendor or any new data set from the vendor, right? So business wanted to analyze or like they want to know about the data set before even they bring the data into any of the into the platform, right? So they want to know the quality of the data. They want to understand more insight about the data, right? Like how many, what are the type of the data that we want to bring it in. Probably it could be bringing like more, data types and all those things into the system. And, so before they do the analysis, before they bring the data into the platform, if they want to do the further analysis, they would go to the metadata explorer and look at that, and then they can define the requirement, or they can define the data sets what they are looking into see, and all the things like that, right? And then think about this one other point, which correct me, Venkat or Ganesh. So this metadata explorer, there is advantages there. So basically is like, in data services, when you bring the data, like let's say that 200 meg data we have or 200 GB data we have. So you have to bring it and you have to store that in our data services, right?
Yes.
Whereas here, it would be more of like the data would still reside in the source systems or wherever it could be. It could be the files or it could be like wherever it is. We are not transforming the data. We are not bringing the data anywhere. Just that the rules or the metadata, that just extractions of that, it will be there. Just more of that yeah, just it brings that and it looks at it and it give you the view, and based on that you can define your requirement, because it's going to give you more insight about the data, and then you can decide from that point what you want to bring it to the system, or do we really need to bring it to the system. So all those things you can make it from there. So that's how you should look at this, right?
Yes, Murli.
Okay, thanks. It is an extra privilege then.
Exactly. This is nothing before the step one process. Not even, you are not even building anything at this point. You're just like understanding the data. So that's what you're doing in the data discovery space. And this metadata explorer is going to give you that opportunity to, to kind of explore that.
Right. And another trivia here is that the profiling capabilities of metadata is completely handled by a HANA instance. So SAP HANA instance is bundled with DI, right? Whether it's cloud, whether it's on-premise, doesn't matter. It's always there. And it has a lot of responsibilities, from auditing, security, and also handling the profiling part of metadata. This is managed by HANA in the background.
Yes, actually, not many of people knows this, but actually behind the scenes, HANA is there. And once the installation is done, you will be able to see the HANA instance actually running inside a pod. And there is also a way to connect your HANA instance, which is getting deployed along with the data intelligence.
Right. And also, right, once you have installed everything, right, there are, two levels of people. So one would be the tenant administrator. In the system tenant, right, we will be going through all of this, but as it has come up, I would like to point it out. So, and other would be the default tenant, where, normal citizen developers or, other people use it. So once if you're a cluster admin, right, there is a license section where you can go and see, whether the HANA is up, what is the license, what is the hardware key. So you can see all those details as well. And the Vora functionality, again, it runs on top of HANA pod, HANA instance as well.
So Prince, I think this is more of you looking at the, data beforehand. There is nothing, linked with your pipeline or the processes what we are building at this point. You just that you're looking at the data, beforehand, and define your approach, or maybe you can you can you can able to create your requirement from that point, and so and you can build upon. So that is what
my question.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening to you, Rani. Please finish. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is, so like you're saying, we generate an approach using the data discovery gives us that benefit of generating that approach. But my question is wouldn't that be done before we actually get to this point, or is it because the data intelligence metadata explorer gives us the ability to preview the data, so there's no need to actually pre-plan how we're going to take how we're going to execute or modify this data, so we can just load the data without going through it into data intelligence, and then use the data discovery to preview the data and then determine our approach. Does that exhume us of that responsibility that maybe using data services or HANA we'll have to sit down and plan our approach?
Yeah, that's a flexibility. That's are the features that you have it in a data intelligence. Yeah, so that's all it is in short. So in today's world, you may not be able to do that, or probably you might be using other tools and beforehand, and then you use the data services, because you would be seeing that in a preview and things like that in data services, but you would not be able to see the entire data set, right? This gives additional profiling features and it brings like additional insight about your source data, then what you really see that, right, in data services preview options, because that is just more of like clumps of it you will be seeing it, or you can limit it and you can see it. You will not be able to see the entire data set. And plus you need to bring that into, your repository and plus your, the data store where you are, whatever the target systems you are in the staging area, you are defining it, right? Whereas here you don't need to do anything. It's just still sits in the source. That's the advantage what you are seeing in the metadata explorer.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Prince, I mean, you don't even have to use this metadata. It is just one of the functionality. Even without using this metadata, right? I can directly create a connection and then consume it in the pipeline modeler. But metadata gives you the flexibility, right, to actually preview the data even before consuming it in the pipeline. And then you can preview it, you can cleanse it, you can do, there are a lot of data preparation enrichments that are available within the metadata management capabilities. Okay, one, say for example, we take your SAP ECC database, and then you are you are doing a data preview of a lot of other tables, and then you're telling no, this is not required. Fine, you have previewed a certain set of data, and then okay, now on this data, what the best benefit of metadata is, once you start profiling this data, right? You have to start profiling this data to get the actual insights of the data that you are previewing. Now, the first step is data discovery. Okay, fine. Connection is done. I'm previewing the data. I'm happy with this data. I'm going to consume this data. Now, what is the next step is profiling. Okay, profiling will give you additional insights. Even though you think that this data set might be good, based on the insights what metadata management is going to provide you, you will even tend to think, oh yeah, oh, this data is missing. Say for example, you have hundreds and thousands of rows. Okay, profiling will give you, was 45% of your data is null in this particular column, which you might not even be aware of. So based on those insights, you can do a data preparation on the data set that you have finalized. You can cleanse all the null data. Probably you can replace it, or you can leave it as a blank, or you can do something else. You can concatenate. So all those data preparations, and then you can use the cleansed data set in the pipeline if you have to consume that particular data. So this is the facility. Data discovery is just the first step. The preview is just the first step. The profiling is the next immediate step. So what I'm trying to tell you is, these are all the additional flexibility data intelligence is offering you. So you can, how you are using data services, the same fashion you can also use data intelligence. Just use pipeline, extract the data using the connection management, and then do whatever you want. That is also there. But the main differentiator is the metadata management, where you will be able to actually do a preview of the data, and then based on the preview of the data, you can cleanse the data based on the insights that will be provided by metadata management, and you can consume the proper data in your pipeline. So these things we will see it in tomorrow's session in detail, how the profiling works, how the data discovery works, how the publication works. So, okay, so these things we will see it in detail in tomorrow's hands-on session.
So I have a question. So actually for information steward also, we have the same data profiling, data insight, and metadata explorer, and then data catalog, all the things we are doing in information steward. The only thing is I can see that limitation, that can be some limitation in information steward. So except that limitation criteria, what is the difference between information steward and the SAP DI? So basically, both are having the same functionality and the same things, so capabilities. So what is the difference? What we have the major difference between information steward and DI?
No, yes, you are absolutely right. This is one of the common questions in which I receive from a lot of people, right? What is the difference between data services and data intelligence? What is the difference between information steward and data intelligence? Is data intelligence going to replace information steward? No. So I will ask you a question. Okay. So now what you do in information steward, you define metapedia, you define rules. Will you be able to cleanse the data in information steward?
So for, I think we cannot do the data cleansing, but we can do that. For that, we need to do quite few process, like we need to create that cleansing packages in information steward and then publish it, and then we need to consume it through BODS.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How we need.
So what is happening here? So what is happening here? So this is a traditional method, right? Information steward has been there for probably around 15, 20 years, 2008, if I'm not wrong, correct? So what is happening here? So just for cleansing the data, I have to consume data services, correct? Now, for a customer who wants their architecture to be simplified, having information steward as one solution for cleansing the data, having data services as another solutions to perform the cleansing of the data. So will that not add complexity to their architecture? And from a licensing perspective, they have to license information steward separately. They have to license data services separately, correct? So this will add additional burden on their bill of materials, correct?
Yep.
Now,
Right.
so this is one problem. Now, the next problem is you cannot compare the features that are provided by information steward and the features that are provided by data intelligence metadata management, because metadata management provides to a certain extent data cleansing techniques, data preparation. We can do some enrichments, but it is not as robust as what is available in information steward. Okay, though in the latest version, data intelligence provides an option for you to import the rules that you have created in information steward, but still at this point in time, it will definitely not replace information steward, because customers who are already using information steward, number one, they have to leverage their existing investment. How I can leverage the Metapedia or the business glossaries and the rules that I've already created within information steward, how can I put it in data intelligence so that I have a very simplified architecture? Okay, so this is one mechanism. Now, this is what DI provides an option to import the Metapedia and rules as of now that he had already created in information steward. So this is how you can leverage your existing investment that you had already put up in these systems. Okay. But when it comes to robust capabilities of complex rules assignments and all those stuff, still information steward, hands down, it will be the winner. Okay, so depending on your use case, you have to choose the solution wisely. If the customer's main criteria is about rule definition, complex rules building, and then it's mainly like focuses around data quality, probably we would, as a trusted advisor, we can ask them to go for information steward, build all the complex rules that they want. And in the meantime, if the customers are not so much worried about the full-fledged capability mechanism what information steward is providing, but they want a certain or minimal amount of data enrichments or data preparations or certain minimal amount of data cleansing techniques, I will show you all the features tomorrow. What are all the data cleansing techniques? What are all the data preparations that you can do? If customers are satisfied with that, then they can go for data intelligence so that they will have a less simplified architecture rather than increasing their complexity by adding IS and DS. Got my point, right?
Right. And to add to Venkat's point, right? So essentially, DI is not a competitor or a replacement for either information steward or data services. The only point here is that it adds to their functionalities so that it opens up the possibilities of many hybrid use cases. For example, see, DI can never ever replace IS because the level of reach of IS is much more. What IS can do is much more than DI is capable of today or even at the end of 2021, right? But how it makes the architecture better is that it feeds both ways. So for the information steward investment, for the information steward data which you already have, you can reuse that in DI, right? And how the opposite way works, it can feed, the functionalities of, it adds into the functionalities of data services as well. So there is no question of replacement, but it's a point of enrichment. How data services or data intelligence with IS is getting enriched, how your investments are getting better, right? So even though, there are many functionalities of data services which already exist in DI, right? The entire vFlow engine is, built from the code base of data services actually. We can come to that later, but it does have similar functionalities, but it is not and will never replace these. But both will be stronger together. That is the end goal of using these solutions together.
See, I think so. Whatever we have provisioned, right? We have provisioned a tenant for you guys to practice. So which we will be rolling out the details, today after our first session, because today is an intro session. And from tomorrow, we will be predominantly working on the tenant. And the point is, I'm just trying to see whether I could show you how the mechanism of import of rules and business glossary into the DI tenant. Unfortunately, 3.1 on-premise version is not released into the market yet. We have only 3.0, and these capabilities, import of rules and business glossaries, is available only with DI Cloud version 2007 onwards. I guess if I'm not wrong, or 2005. I just have to check, but it is available with the cloud version. So I will just try and show you. Probably I'll just try to get some tenant, and I'll just show you how we can leverage the existing investment and use DI in conjunction to fulfill the customer's requirement, right? Say even for customers who wants to create complex rule, if they are an existing user of information steward, still SAP strategy is still we can position SAP Data Intelligence. We can tell them SAP DI has a tight integration with information steward. Whatever rules that they had developed in IS, we can import it to DI. Whatever business glossaries that they have developed, we can import it to DI. We can reuse it, and then we can consume that from DI. So this is what the SAP strategy is. And going forward, they are also going to announce a very tight integration with IS and DS. So still this space is, enhancing, it is developing. So sooner or later, you will find a very tight integration so that people who are already using IS and DS, they will be able to take advantage of DI as well.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be the one of the approach that we are taking here at solving it. So basically, right now, as we discussed earlier, so we have the IS and we have the DS and we have obviously Power Designer and things like that, right? So and then the DA is like data. We started off with the data hub, and now we are moving towards to data intelligence, and not a lot of work has done in data hub as such, because it's still evolving, and a lot of stuff that what we would like to do, the complex processes or the ETL processes, it's not kind of up. At least it was not available in data hub. We are hoping it's going to be available in data intelligence, more of an incremental fashion, right? But then as Karthik mentioned, so today we are creating the rules in information steward, and we are publishing into data services, so that way, at least, like when we load the data, that we should be able to cleanse the data and then and then load them with the proper quality, right? So the expectation is it is going to continue that approach. So tomorrow, we would be really interested to use those same rules, repurposing those rules what's been created in information steward, because this is not just the development team is creating the rules, the business team is creating those rules, right? So obviously they would like to go on continue to create those rules, and they would still continue to publish, and we should integrate that in part of our pipeline process. So that's the expectations, and that's a value proposition that what even SAP is also telling to the customer, that that eventually that you would be start kind of using these or repurposing this what you have done, not really like thrown away work or something. So we have to see those kind of things. That's why I was like, when we discussed about that earlier as well, I was very particular about like how we are going to use, what we have built to date.
No, Murali, you are absolutely right. See, I will tell you, as of today, what is the scenario? I will clearly tell you. Yes, even everyone is foreseeing in that direction only what is going to happen. Everything is right. But as of today, right, when I will try to show you a demo, what is going to happen is, even when you try to import the rules within data intelligence, you will not be able to edit it. There is no edit option that has been provided to you, but SAP is coming up with it. SAP has already told that we will be coming up with the edit option, but later, in a later release, not immediate release. As of today, you can only import the rules. So this is just a baby step, Murali, to be very frank. Okay, so it's still at its infancy stage. I am sure it will develop, it will explode it into much bigger version, but we don't know when, we don't know where, but we are prepared.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I agree. That's the state we are. So at least we would, right now we were able to import the meta, right? Like what is there in information steward, that same thing that, again, it's like more of even, you go and see that it's not a natural integration as well as there. It's just more of that creating that, connecting to the
Import.
repository and bringing data information right to the Power Design or whatever. The same thing that we are trying to do that here, because the seamless integration. So there is another expectations or another process which we would like to see, which which we haven't even more of that HANA lifecycle management process, right? Basically. So anything that we create that in a modeling lifecycle, you will have a physical model you will have a logical model defined in the Power Designer. And then, from there, you would be able to create things that in HANA databases physically, right? So moreover, whatever changes you would like to do it in the modeling level, and then eventually it could go and create it in the, backend process wise in the model, right? Where it resides. So the same process that we would like to continue to do that, or at least we are looking forward. I don't know whether that's. I think as far as I know, that feature is not available today in data intelligence either, or the seamless integration is not in place. But I'm hoping that would evolve soon. But that is something is even that customers are already expecting that anything they would like to see the metapedia here, and then if they correct something that goes back, it's not just a one-way process, maybe like two-way process more of, I would say. Right? If they not only today they are seeing that, as you said, edit functionality is coming in. So which means then it's you would be having maybe the common central repository of the rules engine, or probably your, the model or as such, wherever it is, it should be, seamlessly integrated, which way you are looking at it, from which tool you are looking at it. And it should enable them to really go and make the changes, one way or the other, and then it gets reflected in across the board. So that's something is what that kind of a vision. I don't know whether SAP, how soon that's going to roll out, but at least today there are partially it is working with that set of tools what they do have. But these are the expectations, at least from our end, that we are seeing it already from customer front.
Yes, Murali. I mean, see, we have also interacted with a lot of partners and other things. The one thing which is we cannot rely on is, see, SAP's strategy, right? So, yes, as you told, they are heavily investing in the space, like editing of IS rules, and sooner they will also come up with pipelines so that if something fails, it will automatically recorrect itself, and then probably put it in DI, or you might have a capability to put it back to IS so that we can consume it in both the hybrid world. See, these are all some of the strategies, customers' expectations that we are all talking about. But ultimately, it is up to the product managers who are there to define the strategy, what is going to come in the upcoming versions.
Yeah, agreed. No, these are not, it's not, I'm not, expecting or either, but I'm just trying to tell you the context, or maybe that what's the expectations here. Yeah, that's one of the things is a lineage report, right? Lineage impact, right? From where this is coming, how it's going, where. So when we talk about the lineage, we cannot say that, this can be covered only from one part to other part, right? It has to be give you the holistic picture of that, how the entire data been transformed, traveled across these systems, and what we have done, right? So that's something is is part of that. So that's the one of the common use case from the business users would be looking into see that hey, this is the data we brought it, what we have done, and from where it is coming and how it came through, or there applied any transformations in the process of bringing the data, all those things, right? So those kind of things, when we are talking about if today we have this kind of separate tools, yeah, it's great, it's working, I'm not saying that. But again, as you said that one of the all these things, we wanted to bring that in the common data intelligence platform, where that customer can able to don't need to run around and understanding this, having more tools and licenses and maintenance and cost and things like that, right? Instead to see that in a common area where they could able to see it, and they are seeing that as data intelligence could be the tool that could provide that what they are looking at it. But I don't know when that's going to happen. But yeah,
so it is already happening, Murali. As we speak, right? It is already happening, and the development is also in a fast pace, because they wanted to position this as a one-stop solution, because no other competitors have this. To trust me, I really get into this market research analysis and do all those stuff. Okay, so I get involved in all the aspects of data intelligence. So trust me, no one in the market, as I told before, has one solution which can cater to all these stuffs.
I completely agree. I completely agree. That's why that client also picked, even though their use cases, very well fit into with a lot of other, open market tools, or even you don't need to even go to the open market. Pretty much you can go with any, set of services what AWS is providing or Azure is providing. They very well can able to, implement the same or build this data platform in that landscape. So they don't need of going, but then there is an advantage, slight edge with the data intelligence, which that's the whole purpose that even client is also seeing that, and they brought this into this account.
Correct. Because
Right.
see, I'll tell you very frankly, me and Ganesh, right? So the partner company that which we are working for also, we are positioning DI aggressively to our customers as well.
Yeah.
Right. So only TI. So we also get involved in other cloud solutions. So see, typically we are also into a lot of solutions. We are also into solution delivery apart from other solutions, but data intelligence is one that we as a partner company, we are positioning it to other customers very aggressively. Right. And that's why we also get a lot of requirements with respect to installation, with respect to enablement and all those stuff, because they also understood the importance of DI, where it is going to go. See, it is like, instead of getting in pace, so after 1 or 2 years, assume that this product is getting matured. Instead of at that stage, we get enabled from now itself, so that we get sophisticated at that stage and we'll be ready in the market. So that is the funda here. Right.
Sorry, I was speaking on the mute. Yeah, I agree.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay. So we will see each of these activities like discovery and profiling, search, data lineage, which is one of the most important features, which all of you guys must be knowing. I don't have to explain what is the data lineage. It is available in the cloud version, but it is not available in the on-premise version. I will even try to show you that in case if I get a hand of my partner system. We have the data preparation techniques, and we have the tagging features, policies, business rules, which we'll be going in depth tomorrow, and we'll be covering it. Right. So this is what the metadata management is all about.
Yeah, just one small trivia, Venkat, which I wanted to mention here, because Murray also touched upon this, a while back, is, right now the support of information steward, metadata and all those files, it's still it's an infancy, because you have to export your Metapedia, etc., and then import them manually into DI, right? But it's already there in the roadmap, and in the next release what will happen is you will be able to add a connection type information steward, and then automated sync one way automated sync will be happening from IS to DI, right? And
that is with more of with IS to DI. Is that something again? Yeah, that is definitely a great. Are they thinking of integrating anything with the Power Designer?
Okay, yeah. So probably, what I'll do is pause this session, or while the session is probably, I'll just have a look at the roadmap and let you know, because yeah, and I'll let you know by today or tomorrow. I'll just have a look. Yeah.
I'm looking at from more of the data lifecycle management process, right? So for anything like we are doing that in data lifecycle. So these are the common elements, right? So you do the discovery, and then you kind of profiling, and then we kind of transform it, and then we would be loading it, and then obviously the whole process goes on the modeling aspects of it, like you have that conceptual, logical, and physical model. So then these things has to be in any data platform, if you take it, that has to be integrated, right? Then it's like one place where if you see that in a Colibra or any kind of tools in the market, that what it does is basically this is what it's bringing, that, and it's giving the business whether it's a business glossary or where you want to know about a particular attribute or anything across the enterprise, you should be able to see that from where it is coming from already. So that whole process is something. Again, there is another thing actually, tell you there was a kind of a discussion with the customer that we wanted to information steward along with the Power Designer or versus Colibra. Okay, so obviously Colibra is the winner in this case. We know that industry that's been proven. Even I myself kind of implemented in many different places Colibra. So here actually we were trying our level best to try to position these things to see whether with the data intelligence we can able to give that additional flexibility. But I think obviously from the data governance, the team, or probably that the CTO is not really interested on that. He is very much interested on Colibra. So it went in a different directions where we could not be able to add more, or we would not be able to sell it. Put it in that way, right? But that's where that other things which might be interested if we able to, I don't know whether if in the roadmap That's something this is going to, come up. At least I'm interested to know that, where are we with that, how far we are, with implementing that feature. That's
Perfect,
just want
perfect.
to give.
Sure, sure. I'll just have a look and get back to you soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Murali, so what we can do is probably during our day 4, and we'll just have a look at the roadmap as well, and we can have some kind of discussion over there, how to position this to the customers in case of Collabora is involved or some other third party people are involved. How SAP DI we can prepare a winning proposition so that how customers are prepared. Something like that we can discuss it. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So, so this entire metadata, we'll cover it in tomorrow's session. So we'll have the metadata. We have talked a lot about the metadata management benefits. And then, so this is what the data preparation would look like. As Ganesh had also explained, like after you preview the data and then if you have to bring in the data, you just have to profile the data to get some insights, and you want to do some data enrichments or data preparations on top of it. So you will be able to do, it says, for example, some of the features like replace, duplicate, order, sort, concatenate, something like this, you will be able to do. So in tomorrow's hands-on session, what data sets that I had prepared is, I had prepared 2 kinds of data sets. It's like end-to-end flow, wherein you will be doing a data preparation activity. You'll be joining those data sets, and then the output will be stored in the Azure storage account, and how we are going to consume that. So those kind of stuff we'll see it in tomorrow's session. But this is just to give you, a heads up on what a data preparation is, how the screen might look like. So this is what it is, some of the features in data preparation, right? So, and Murali, so one more important aspect is they are also trying to bring in, if you had worked in SAP Agile data preparation, right? So they are also trying to bring in the features of Agile data preparation within DI, this metadata self data preparation feature. So sooner or later,
here the business user heavily using ADP, so that is already there.
No, you're right. You're right. So what you can use in very similar to IS and DS case only. So how they can leverage the existing investment. So if they are already using ADP, if we have the same capability in DI, probably we can ask them to switch over to DI in future, because I'm not sure about how they are going to develop and what kind of features that they are going to bring in. But we can definitely bring them from ADP to DI in case of full-fledged features that are available, whatever they have been using in ADP to DI, because this is a one-stop place, right? So after ADP, so we have to think about after ADP. Okay, done. After the data cleansing technique, what is the next step? So we have to bring them to that level. So we can guide them or enable them what you have to do with DI. So this could be a good value proposition for the ADP users also. Probably we just have to wait and see what the development is going to be. Till now, it is all about ADP, right? So this is one of the important trivia that I wanted to mention. And
definitely, those are the things that we would like to hear and see how things goes. And obviously, not a lot of things are like still work in progress. But yeah, definitely good to know all these things.
Yes, Murali. I mean, see, data intelligence itself is relatively a very new solution. Even though we can tell that SAP Data Hub was there, but a lot of new features like machine learning plus artificial intelligence and all those stuff. And apart from that, they have added other external activities also, which makes data intelligence even more comprehensive. Now, going forward, there is no more Data Hub, right? So they see. I don't know what had happened. Probably SAP strategy. I was not aware of it during the that data hub development or data hub usage. What made them to create data intelligence? And because they are reusing the existing capabilities of data hub and then putting into the data intelligence. But now I'm able to understand they are trying to define things from a holistic point of view and simplifying the architecture for the customers. Right. So this is what it is. I mean, every day is a surprise for every one of us. So SAP strategy is, it could be, we just have to wait and watch what would be available in the cloud version and when it is coming to the on-premise version. So this is one thing that we have to watch out. So, but definitely one thing that we can guarantee is this is going to be a game changer in the next 1 year. Yep. So we have the data preparation, and which I'll be showing it to you. So this is the data preparation without any technical scripting skills. that will be directly provided by the Metadata Management Explorer. So it's only for the business users. So like Murali said, this is a very business user friendly. Whatever data enrichments that you want to do, you can do it. And we can have one-click data actions like filtering, data type conversion, data trimming, etc. And we also have a seamless integration with the data sources where we use the connection management to connect to the data, right? So this is what it is. And once you have prepared the data, you have cleansed the data, your data is ready. This can be easily consumed by your data scientists or data engineers for further analysis on the cleansed data set, right? So we have extraction of metadata lineage. So this is available only with respect to cloud as of now. I think 2007 version they have included. Yeah, I think 2007 they have the lineage. I have to check on that version more. I'll just get back to you. I'm not sure whether they have included this from 2005 or 2007, but I'll just check that and I'll get back to you. But this lineage version, you know what is a data lineage, right? So how we can track back to the data changes that had gone to a data set, where it had come from, what kind of changes that had been done. So if possible, I'll just try to show it to you as well in one of the cloud tenants. Hopefully I should get it. If not, probably I'll just put some screenshots and I'll just tell you this is how it will look like. Okay. So we have the model creation. So I'm not going to go in depth in all these steps. Model creation, as I told you, you'll be able to create your own data models. Data intelligence provide you the required platform to create your own data models or bring your own data models. If you have already built some data models, you can always upload it to DI and start consuming it. And one of the important aspect is you can use your data model and connect it to your existing pipeline or a new pipeline, which you can create so that it will become a seamless flow. So we have machine learning we have the scenario manager with respect to machine learning. And now what it does is it does three important tasks. One is automate your low value task. That is your model performance and life cycle is automatically managed. So your data scientist can focus on what that really matters, right? So you can also manage everything at once, one single interface to see all AI models. And obviously you will be able to reduce the infra cost because behind the scenes, it is a serverless cloud architecture because you only use and pay for what you need. So apart from that, you don't, pay or you don't need to pay anything additional for this. So this is one, one example which I would like to quote you is for on-premise customers, right? Say, for example, I had already told you one of the customers, if they are going for SUSE container as a service or Red Hat OpenShift, they will have GPU-enabled machines, which are very, very important for machine learning models to execute GPU learning machines. So what you can do is you can deploy this DI. You can add a separate node pool. You can add a separate node pool and attach these GPUs to that node pools and then direct your pipeline in such a way that it can consume that GPU node. It will use the power of the GPUs for that particular pool of machines that you have added. So this is one flexibility that data intelligence is providing for you. Say, for example, you're building a model which is very intensive and requires more compute power. You can add a node pool, assign that pipeline to that particular node pool which is having GPU enabled virtual machines or GPU enabled machines. And then for other pipelines which are very less intensive, you can create another node pool which are less powered machines so that your cost will be reduced. And then your management also will get reduced. There is no overhead on that, right? So as I told you in the pipeline modeler, which is probably the heart of development area, wherein we have a lot of predefined, algorithms, like I said, image classification and all those stuffs. And we also have a lot of operators. So I think, if I'm not wrong, data intelligence supports more than 150 or 200 plus operators in its own capacity. And on top of it, it also gives you the flexibility, right? Flexibility to create custom operators. As I had told you, if something is not supported, don't panic, don't worry. Custom operators are there to the rescue. You can use your custom operators. You can use your own Python code, bring it, deploy it, and it will start working, right? So this we have exclusively, Ganesh, how many operators are in 25, 26 operators, right? Which we have, which we will show it to you exclusively on day 3, what kind of configurations that will go inside each operator, which is really required by you. See, it's like once you understand this 20, 25 operators, right? See, The main agenda of this training, to get you well equipped with what is an operator, what kind of configurations are there, how I have to do it. So I do not, to be very frank, I will not give you any false promises that you will definitely become an expert after this training. No, if I tell you that, or if any of them tells you that, then it is not true. It is a fake promise. The main agenda of this training is we will equip you with the required knowledge. We will equip you with the required foundation, right? So that you don't have to go anywhere and search for what is this, what is that, at least from the foundation perspective. We will keep you up and running, how to do a metadata management, how to cleanse the data, how to do the data preparation, how to create a pipeline, what are all the different operators that are available, how to use the operator, how to consume the connection, right? What are all the different configuration settings for the 2025 operators that we are going to show, how it is working, how to probably one end-to-end scenario of a model creation, how it is happening, how it is getting executed. So this is what at the best we will be able to tell you in this 4 days. Now, if you have to become an expert, just go through the 2025 operators, whatever we have taught you, just understand the funda, what is going inside this operator, because other fundas are going to be the same. Even if you use, say, for example, HANA table producer operator, HANA table consumer operator, any operator that you use, the funda is going to be the same. Just the configuration settings are going to vary, right? So this is what I had been telling to Murali initially when we were discussing. So Murali, don't worry. I mean, even if it is like n number of operators also, once we equip the people with the required fundamental knowledge, it is more than enough for them to do the research on their own how to use this operator. Because see, this is a relatively new solution. You don't have any guide, you don't have anything, you don't have anything available outside apart from few blocks. It's only based on experience that it will come. So based on our experience, we'll just show you a few operators, how it runs, so from there you have to take it forward, right? So this is the data science process in SAP DI. Like you build a model, you train the model, you can validate the model, and then you can push it to other third-party systems like other third-party systems, and then you can push it to SAP Analytics Cloud for reporting purpose, etc. So this is the end-to-end process of a model creation, validation, etc. Right? So now we have data pipeline. So probably for people who are wondering what is a pipeline, what do you mean by operators? Do not worry, we will also cover in depth on our third day, right? So I will also just try to show you these are all few of the basics that are available for a data pipeline, right? So data pipelines are deployed into single or multiple Kubernetes pods. When I take up the Kubernetes session, you will understand what is a pod is. Okay, so it is either deployed into single or a multiple pod. Even I'm not sure how it is handled because the installer will handle those properties. Now pipelines are represented by simple JSON format. You just have to right click and edit and see the JSON that has been written behind the operator. It is as simple as such. You can copy paste, edit the JSON, create your own operator also, right? So these are all some of the advantages. Easy to use drag and drop interface, predefined operators are available. You just have to go and configure the configuration settings. That's it. Now you can group the operators together so that they can run it in a group instead of individual operators. So you can schedule the pipeline. So these are all some of the basic features of pipelines. And once we start working on the pipeline, you will understand what is an operator, how to use it, and all those stuff. Okay, but this is what the funda or basic of a pipeline. A pipeline consists of multiple operators, and operators can be grouped together. That's it. You just remember this at this point in time. Later we will get into the group. All right, so we are about to close the introduction. Just give me 5 more minutes. I'll just close this off. We have the SAP Data Intelligence provide you the option to leverage the open source technologies like Jupyter Notebook, which is already integrated with DI, and you can also bring your own model as I had suggested, and you will also have a seamless integration of Jupyter Notebooks into the pipeline modeler application. So it is possible to harness the Jupyter Notebooks in operationalizing the training and interfacing the pipelines, right? So I think we have something to show on day 3, which we will take this up, right? So nothing much, and this is the traditional approach without SAP Data Intelligence, and with SAP Data Intelligence approach, as you can see in probably based on our discussion, you should be able to understand how SAP Data Intelligence is going to work. We have inherent pipelines which can orchestrate the end-to-end data flow. We have end-to-end monitoring of the pipeline also. One single place where you can do orchestration, you can do monitoring, you can do scheduling, you can do connection management, you can do metadata browsing, and you can do model training, model validation, and then pushing it to the third-party systems or any other system that is required, right? So traditional approach, just keep in mind your traditional data warehousing approach, your ETL data sources, bring in the data warehousing, build models on top of it, and then connect it to the, so lot of data silos are there, and not simplified architecture, complex architecture. A lot of pricing structures will be involved there. You have to invest heavily both on the resources and from the software perspective, but you can eliminate everything with this SAP data intelligence. So one-stop solution for all your needs, guys. Right? Okay.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to visit our Vimeo page and follow for more upcoming videos.